What is yoga? Patanjali defined Yoga Sutras with the first aphorism as athayogaanushasanam. Atha means now, yoga, come to yoga, anushasanam as a self-discipline. In life, we all, as part of our growing up, we all were running around in the schools and grades and colleges, relationships, money, assets, cars. And in that continuous pursuit, we realize that all these things only provide a temporal happiness, but they do not give us the permanent happiness. So Patanjali said, you've tried everything right now, yet you have not attained the permanent happiness, the eternal bliss that we all are entitled to. And he calls all of us to now take to the practice of yoga. Today, when we look at yoga, we always say that we do about an hour or hour and a half of yoga on the mat in a studio or at your place. But Patanjali defines yoga as not as a part-time job. Yoga is a way of life. It's how we live with holistic yoga set of principles. In the next Yoga Sutra, this is probably the most often quoted definition of yoga. Yogachittavrittinirodhah. Yoga is, chitta means mind, vritti is mind's tendencies to go all around in turbulent behavior, and nirodha is to regulate or restrain or calm. Yoga simply is all about regulating and calming your turbulent mind. Today, if you look at it, the mind, powered by your sensory illusions, the sight, the touch, the smell, and the taste, it creates an illusion, and it also creates a separation between oneself with others around you. We often look at what's in it for me or the other person different from you based on race, religion, color, place, or economic status. And we are always prioritizing what's in it for me versus others. And this continuous chatter in our thoughts puts our mind to go in all different directions. And in fact, we also lose a sense of our own identification. We confuse our identity with our body, our family, our own possessions, and we always created this wall of separation between you versus me. And the mind always gets into the chatter on how to optimize everything that you're doing to get the best for you and yourself. Yet if you realize this body, this mind, and all the possessions or all the relationships that you have, nothing is permanent. In fact, the Sankhya says that all of us our identity is defined as Nitya Suchi Sukha Atma. We're all eternal, we're always pure, we're always happy, and we are indivisible. This is also referred to as Brahman or Atman. That's our true identity. This mind powered by the sensory illusions is creating this separation of me versus you, my family versus other family, my job versus other job. And once you restrain and stop this chatter of you versus me, that's what yoga is. Then we realize our true identity of Nitya Suchi Sukha Atma. In Vedanta, Adi Shankara refers to this as our true identity, Brahman and Atma. The mind is creating that illusion sometimes referred to as adhyasa in Vedanta. In the next sutra, Patanjali says, what happens when we calm the turbulent mind, when we stop the chatter of what's in it for me, you versus me? Tada dristuhu swarupe avasthanam. That's when dristuhu, the true divinity that is within us, gets manifested. The divine is always there, that we are nothing but the divine, eternal bliss, the satchidananda. The mind with its illusion and this chatter of you versus me and what's in it for me, create that illusion and makes us the human that results in suffering. But once we stop that mind or calm that mind, then we realize that we are nothing but the supreme divine. And Patanjali does not waste any time. In the next sutra, he also reveals how do we get there? How do we realize our true identity of Satchidananda, that we are eternal bliss? Patanjali reveals two primary keys. Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodhah. Abhyasa means regular and sincere practice of the holistic yoga system. And vairagya. Vairagya is defined by dispassionate, where we are not hankered around on any one thing or people, yet we are fully involved and engaged in every situation, in every activity, with every person that you interact with full exuberance. And that's vairagya. When you practice the yoga system with sincerity and with vairagya, that's how tannirodhah, that's how we can restrain the turbulent mind. In fact, Patanjali also gives the definition of abhyasa as satu dirgha kala nairantara satkara sevito drudabhumihi. Satu, when you do the practice for a long period of time, without interruption, nairantara, satkara sevito, with full devotion and honor, and when you do this, practice this yoga system, then it becomes rooted in you. You become a yogi. And vairagya is defined by Patanjali as drishtanashravika vitrushnasya vashikara sanya vairagyam. Drishtanashravika vishaya vitrushnasya vashikara sanya vairagyam. Drishtanashravika, the ones that you see, the ones that you hear, the ones that are powered by your sensory illusion. Once you do not get yourself deeply bonded to the objects that are powered by your sensory illusions, and when you realize this knowledge, yet live an exuberant life in every situation, that is what is known as vairagya. Vairagya is often misconstrued by several as renunciation or sannyasa, where you give up everything and then you go to mountains. Vairagya is not that. In fact, vairagya is probably the most exuberant way of living, because we don't have to worry about what's in it for me. So you're always working to create the permanent bliss for others around you. Very simply, Patanjali defines yoga as athayogaanushasanam. Yoga is the self-discipline, and it's a full way of life, and it's not something that's enforced upon you by anybody, but you do it for yourself. And it's a full-time job. It's a way of life. Yogachittavrittinirodhah. Yoga is about restraining the turbulent mind that's continuously engaged in the chatter of what's in it for me. Tadadrastu swarupe avasthanam. Once you reduce the chatter of what's in it for me, or the separation of you versus me, drastuhu, that's when you realize the true divine within you. And you're nothing but the supreme. And you no longer identify yourself with this limited identity of the body and mind. You realize that you're Nitya, eternal, Suchi, pure, Sukha, bliss, and indivisible Atma. And how do we get there? Abhyasa vairagyabhyam tannirodhah. Regular practice without interruption and with full honor and devotion is considered a good practice. And vairagya is exuberant engagement in every situation, in every activity, with every person that you meet, without getting bonded to that situation. Results in playfulness. And sometimes we also refer to this as Leela, Lord Krishna, Krishna Tattvam, or Shivoham, Chidananda, Satchidananda. That's what yoga is. Let's come join to the practice of yoga and realize our true identity, that we are pure bliss and pure consciousness, Shivoham, Satchidananda.